Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Where do I even begin? Oh my gosh, bro. I waited like the entire day to react to this because I wasn't able to react to it last night. Right after Dana White went on his live and dropped an avalanche of UFC news. This is just incredible right now. I am loving this. UFC, I am loving the matchmaking right now. And just as I expected, UFC is moving forward with Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes for the undisputed lightweight belt, which means that Ilia Topuria is moving up to lightweight. Yo, bro, Ilia is going for the kill. He's going for the head of Islam Makhachev, the pound-for-pound number one in the world. Bro, he's going for GOAT status. This is crazy. And there's so much more to discuss. UFC London, UFC 315. JDM gets put to a title shot with Belal instead of Shavkat. And then Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. There is so much to discuss. I was so excited the entire day. My head kept on just racing as to like how I'm going to like react to all this. But finally I get to sit here and record and make a video reacting to all this because this is some of the best news we have received, and it looks like 2025 is going to be a sick year after all, with the possibilities and implications to what could be, what we already know, and what could happen in the future, right? So let's start with this right now. The featherweight situation, the conversation with Volk and Ilia Topuria. Now, as I discussed in my second video, which so far is my number one video, and I don't know what happened, if the algorithm decided my videos were no longer the shit, so they stopped pushing my videos. But we got Volk taking on Diego Lopes. I said I really liked this. I really liked a fresh matchup for Volk. I did not want Ilia Topuria to fight Alexander Volkanovski for a second fight. There was just really not much excitement for me there. I did not want to see Ilia Topuria finish Alexander Volkanovski. But now the conversation shifts to Alexander Volkanovski becoming possibly a champion again. Of course, I've been looking at some people's reactions, and they've been saying that Diego Lopes would, and I'm not, of course, like doubting that Diego Lopes could win. But again, this is a new, fresh, intriguing matchup for Alexander Volkanovski. The narrative goes from Ilia Topuria is just going to finish him again to holy shit, Volkanovski could become a UFC champion again in 2025. A fresh matchup we haven't seen before. We don't know how legit Diego Lopes is. He's only really beaten a couple okay guys, well, not okay guys, very good guys in the featherweight division, Brian Ortega and Dan Ige. But now we get to see for real if Diego Lopes is about it, and he's fighting one of the greatest featherweights of all time, Volk, coming off a year layoff, and Volk is headlining UFC 314 Miami versus Diego Lopes. And my boy Ilia Topuria is going for it all. He has vacated the undisputed featherweight champion. I don't really care that he won't go with like simultaneous two belts, because really, if he beats Islam and he's a lightweight champion, he never actually lost the featherweight belt. He vacated it on his own terms. So therefore, that still means he's a two-division champ. This fight is just as big, if not bigger, than Khabib versus Conor. This is like Khabib versus Conor type fight that the UFC could make. Everything is set up now for this mega fight to happen, and I don't know why. Listen, there is the argument that Charles Oliveira could also fight Ilia Topuria, and that will be Ilia Topuria's like number one contenders fight to see if he really about it. I saw that Islam's manager is like, why would we go for a smaller guy? Again, he has to prove he's number one first. Get out of here with that shit. Like, just let Ilia Topuria go for the mega fight already. This is crazy. This is crazy, bro. Like, Ilia Topuria is probably going to be fighting Islam at UFC 317 in International Fight Week, June. And I don't even want to get into the possibilities of that being like one of the greatest cards of all time if they do Jones versus Aspinall and Ilia versus Islam on the same card. Dana White did say last night in the live that Jones and Aspinall is still coming. It's still coming. So this is crazy. And this card alone is just stacked. Stacked, bro. You got Volk versus Diego Lopes, a fresh matchup. Volkanovski could really become champion again. And for sure, for Lopes, he was definitely the next guy up. They ended up breaking apart what would have maybe been a Diego Lopes versus Yair Rodriguez main event at UFC Mexico. You put Lopes here with Volk. I knew it. Once they put Brandon Moreno and Steve Ercek on UFC Mexico, that meant that they were saving Lopes for some kind of fight with Volk. And this is just amazing, bro. I'm loving this matchmaking. I'm a huge fan of this matchup right here. Volk versus Lopes. Co-main event, a 5-rounder between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. You know this one's going to be fun. You know it's going to be entertaining. Michael Chandler, this is the perfect fight for Paddy. A real step up in competition. A high-profile lightweight, whether people like him or not. Chandler is entertaining. He has a top-ranking spot. Either Michael Chandler holds his own, or Paddy Pimblett is for real, and after this will command us like a really big fight in the lightweight division and possibly start being in title conversations. This was a perfect fight to make. I was expecting a Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France co-main, but maybe they're saving that for like Brazil or something, or they have something else in store for Pantoja. But this is sick still. When you think about the rest of the card, this complements the card. This is a great start to the card. Volk versus Diego and Paddy Pimblett and Michael Chandler, two highly explosive, entertaining fighters in Miami. This is exceptional. I love this fight for Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. And who do I think is going to win? Paddy Pimblett. This is, I think that Paddy Pimblett does end up beating Michael Chandler, but Michael Chandler is hard to get out of the fight. I don't see Paddy Pimblett really, I think it's just going to go the distance in a couple of rounds, whatever. This is just crazy, bro. So Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler, and then it's not even listed here, but you got Patricio Pitbull versus Yair Rodriguez, right? Yair Rodriguez returns. Yair Rodriguez is a very prominent featherweight. He was an interim champion at one point, but then lost the undisputed fight to Volk. And yeah, Yair Rodriguez is a great entering fight for Patricio Pitbull. I've started to learn more and more about who Patricio Pitbull is. If you don't know who he is, he's a 2-division champ at Bellator. He's one of the best fighters outside of the UFC for the last couple of years. So he's a big deal that the UFC picked up and signed him. This was actually just broken. The news was broken only like a day or two ago. And he's going to be making his debut on this card. It's now or never for Patricio. He's very old. He's like 38 years old, I think. So the UFC is throwing him a very good fighter in Yair Rodriguez to see if he is on that UFC level. And if he wins, he can make a chase, because now the featherweight's for anyone, right? It's so much more competitive. It reopens up the division now for guys like Movsar and Arnold Allen, and it makes the featherweight division a lot more compelling and intriguing, because as long as Topuria was up there, I just saw Topuria running the division. There's so many exciting matchups for Ilia at lightweight. It's going to be crazy, but yeah, so that's Yair Rodriguez. This entire card is badass, bro. Like Carlos Prates, oh my God, bro. Instead of the Gilbert Burns, Michael Morales fight, they swapped that out for Carlos Prates in Miami, bro. Carlos Prates is one of the most savage fighters out right now. Went 4-0 in 2024. All violent knockouts. This guy's momentum and aura is unreal right now. He's my favorite fighting nerd. He's going up against Jeff Neal, a very established welterweight, and is kind of a gatekeeper, but he's coming off the win versus RDA at 308. Bounced back in a nice way. But I think this fight is just a showcase fight for Carlos Prates to now put the world even on more note, the welterweight division on more notice that he's legit and he's coming for that title. This guy's hands, the power, he has this kind of like aura and trajectory like an Ilia Topuria at welterweight. I don't know. He's one of my favorite fighters. This card's insanely stacked. He complements this card so well. Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal. So those 4 fights alone, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, Diego Lopes versus Alexander Volkanovski, and Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull is just amazing. It's unreal. And then there's a bunch of other fights that just round out this amazing Miami card. They always go crazy for Miami. You got Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. I'm seeing a lot of people are picking Nikita Krylov, but Dominic Reyes has been on a little bit of a win streak now. He's had the kind of revival that we all wanted to see of his career, because otherwise it was very sad. But I see some people are picking Nikita Krylov to put a halt to all that. He returns versus Dominic Reyes. You got Yan Shanaun versus Vernia John Deere. Oh, okay, whatever. That's a good woman's fight. Yan Shanaun is the number 1 contender from strawweight. She's coming off the win from UFC Macau. Before that, she lost in the title to Zhang Weili. And then Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper, another really good fight. Chase Hooper on the up right now, facing a seasoned veteran in Jim Miller. But Jim Miller is sticking around. Cedric Dumas versus Michael Olazechuk. And then Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. I don't know. This is probably not going to be the first fight of the night. But right now it's at the bottom. But this is... Sean Woodson is on a sick win streak right now, coming off a crazy violent KO at Tampa. And Dan Ige, we all know he stepped up on short notice versus Diego Lopes. And then just lost to Leron Murphy. All amazing fights to help complement and fill out this stacked card. But the stars of the show right here, man. Oh my God, bro. So yeah, again, Volkanovski is taking on Diego Lopes. I'm just in love with this matchup. That it's just a fresh matchup, and we could start having conversations of Volkanovski becoming a champion again. And now Ilia Topuria moves up, and we assume that he's going to be fighting Islam Makhachev for the mega fight. For the freaking mega fight, bro. Oh my God, I'm so excited for whatever is to come from that. I saw Ilia on his page today post, They Not Like Us, the Kendrick song with a sick picture of him in like a throne. I'm a Topuria fan. Listen, I don't care what people have to say. I'm a Topuria fan, and I'm rocking with him any day. But this is crazy that he's going for GOAT status. But that's not all, right? We were all wondering when they're going to announce that card. It was less than like 2 months out. And not only did they give us 314 and what's going to happen, they did a whole switcheroo here. They put Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards for the UFC Fight Night in London. And Belal now gets Jack Della Maddalena. Now, what it is. Shavkat ended up ruining everything because he's injured. That was the next fight to see. Leon Edwards versus Jack Della Maddalena. A real proven fight to see if Leon Edwards still got it, or if Jack Della Maddalena is the true contender that he is and could put up a striking clinic versus Leon to end up fighting the winner of Shavkat versus Belal. And Shavkat was the clear number one for Belal. I was looking forward to seeing Belal lose the title to Shavkat. I'm sorry, I don't like Belal Muhammad as a champion. But now Sean Brady is taking on Leon Edwards, and Jack Della Maddalena is going up against Belal Muhammad at 315 because they need to save that card with some kind of main event. So the UFC did what they had to do, and Sean Brady now gets the fight that he kind of wanted, which is versus Leon Edwards. And I think this is the end of Leon Edwards then. I think Leon Edwards actually had more of a chance of beating Jack Della Maddalena than Sean Brady, because Sean Brady's going to grapple him and keep him smudged against the cage and try to just use a lot of stamina and press him and keep that pressure. Sean Brady, I like Sean Brady a lot though. Sean Brady is sick to me, so I'm not too mad at it. I still like the fight, just I think I don't know, but honestly in this fight situation, I'm going with Sean Brady. I think Sean Brady's going to beat Leon Edwards at UFC London. This card's stacked. Also a great fight night, by the way, London. I mean, not stacked, but like it's really good for the London card. So more on that on a later date. But yeah, Sean Brady is taking on Leon Edwards. Good for Sean Brady. He gets the fight that he wanted. It's really gonna... Now he has the real chance to show that he's capable of being a champion in this division. A really stacked welterweight division right now. When you're talking about guys like Carlos Prates, Ian Gary, Shavkat, this division's got it all. And Leon, I think this is the end of Leon. And then over here, you got Belal Muhammad taking on Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Maddalena, we haven't seen him since Florida when he beat up Gilbert Burns, who's on this card, by the way. Like I said, Michael Morales and Gilbert Burns is now on UFC 315. So that helps make the card a little bit better. We thought it could be completely terrible because they do Canada dirty. It's not the best when you got Bruno Silva and Marc-Andre Barriault as the main card opener, but you got Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. And Jack, unfortunately, I want Jack Della Maddalena to win, but like a lot of other people are picking, I think Belal Muhammad is going to just do what he does, defend the title, has a much more improved striking game as we've seen versus the Leon fight, and I see him just wrestling and keeping Jack Della Maddalena at bay. But I hope I'm surprised. I hope I'm wrong, and Jack Della Maddalena will end up putting a striking clinic on Belal and somehow pull out the win. I think it's a pretty competitive fight, though. I wouldn't fully count out Jack Della Maddalena in any kind of way, but Belal just seems a little bit superior here with his wrestling game and everything. I mean, just a whirlwind of news right now to digest. Like, it's crazy. What's happening now and what's going to be with Topuria, Makhachev, Aspinall, Jones. There's so many possibilities in the future for the UFC, but I'm really happy with how everything is being laid out right now. I'm not mad at with any of these matchups, really, except the Shavkat Belal fight. I would have. Now that fight has been pushed off 2 times. We have to wait even longer for Shavkat to fight Belal. It's supposed to be a 310. So now it's supposed to be a 315. And now we have to wait until this gets over with. Della Maddalena Muhammad. But I wouldn't be mad if Muhammad loses the belt and then Jack ends up fighting Shavkat. I want Belal to lose the belt at all costs. But again, 314 is just so stacked. Really. I was expecting maybe, I don't know, maybe I was reaching when I thought that maybe Charles Oliveira would be on this card or Arman Sarukian. But still, this card has surpassed my expectations when you see that they put Volk and Diego, Michael Chandler and Paddy, Yair Rodriguez and Patricio Pitbull, and Carlos Prates on the card. I was saying that they should put Carlos Prates on 313, but I'm not mad at this either. Him being in Miami is so fitting. And for him to just go and smoke through some random welterweight, and Jeff Neal is perfect for that. Not saying it's an easy fight for Carlos Prates, but Carlos Prates, I feel, just is going to do it. He's going to put a striking clinic on this guy and knock him out in violent fashion. And I'm just really excited for what's to come whenever they announce what's next for Ilia. This is amazing, guys. This is crazy. Crazy news. The UFC is looking up right now. You got 313 in 2 weeks. And then you got Leon versus Brady. Mexico's looking nice. 314. 315. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. I can't believe I forgot to mention this, right? And then you have the high-profile fight with Valentina Shevchenko taking on Manon Fiorot. Not sure if I said that correctly, but Valentina, this is a very high-profile women's fight. I could recognize that. It's funny, you actually have Alexa Grasso and Valentina on the same card when they just fought at Noche. So she's going to defend her title versus, I believe she's beaten everyone in the UFC. She has 1 loss on her record, though. This is a cool co-main. They're doing what they can with this card. I'm not too mad at it. Like Gilbert Burns and Michael Morales to move that here instead of being on Miami, that's good. I hear that. I'm now seeing reports that Yoel Alvarez will fight Benoit Saint Denis on this card. And now I'm also, by the way, I'm hearing also now that maybe they're doing Sanhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. Why is Sanhagen not fighting O'Malley? That just feels like the next thing to do with the bantamweight division. Do Merab versus Jan, and then do Corey Sanhagen versus Sean O'Malley, a striker's delight. That's what we want to. That's such a sick matchup. It's a perfect time to do it. They're both coming off losses. Let one of them reestablish themselves as a top contender with that fight. This is one of the perfect situations to make Corey Sanhagen versus Sean O'Malley. And if they're doing Davison Figueiredo versus Corey Sanhagen, then what are they doing with Sean O'Malley? Maybe they're giving him the Rob rematch? I don't know, bro. But those are 2 fights that are currently rumored right now in the works. But man, it is an exciting time for UFC. I am incredibly excited for what's to come with these now announced fights and the future with Ilia Topuria, who is vacating the belt. He's going to move up to lightweight, and hopefully we get some kind of announcement soon that he's fighting Islam Makhachev in June. And I get the chills thinking if Ilia is going to knock out Islam. I just play this kind of image in my head of Ilia Topuria just rocking Islam and me getting up from my seat with my friends and we're like, oh, and he just knocks out Islam and we're like, what the fuck just happened? That's what I cannot wait for. Wow. So yeah, that's my reaction to the current news and of the UFC. What Dana White just announced last night. Crazy, bomb after bomb. Huge fights in the UFC. And cannot wait until the next time.